Yo, it's Trivelli, I'm back, and today I'm telling you guys why Colby Covington deserves a rematch for the title shot against Kamaru Usman, and why he's probably not going to get that title shot. I know I haven't been here in a week, I've been out with the flu, but you know what? I'm back. It was not COVID, do not worry. And I know I probably still sound a little congested, so that's why. But you know what the deal is, I had to drop some content Monday through Friday, never slacking. Now let's jump into the action. So listen, the last time these guys fought, Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington, I have to say, it was one of the best UFC fights I've ever seen in my life. UFC 245, Kamaru Usman defeats Colby Covington in the 5th round by TKO with a 4 minutes and 10 second mark in the 5th round for the welterweight championship. Honestly, this was just such a great fight, right? And everybody agreed unanimously that it was a great fight. We thought a rematch would probably ensue sooner than later, right? Well, here's what happens. Colby Covington goes on to defeat Tyron Woodley via a rib injury TKO. We all know that he busted him up in that fight, and he was really able to dominate Tyron Woodley, which, you know, Tyron was on a losing streak, and you can make a bunch of excuses for Tyron about how he's old and he's not in his prime anymore, but this was just a great performance for Colby, and the pace that Colby put on was incredible. This is something that he does so well with his cardio, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But what is the main headline for this video? Well, it is that Kamaru Usman does not want to fight Colby Covington. The chance of these guys having a rematch is starting to fade. Now listen, I'm not a fan of the antics outside of the ring. I could care less about the trash talk, the political talk. Like, I'm not in any of that. Like, at any point in time, you'll never see me bring up anything political whatsoever in any way, shape, or form, honestly. But you know what? I gotta say, I do not understand how or why, but the #1 contender is Colby Covington, and he is not being given a rematch. If you look through the headlines, there is literally zero headlines about a possible title rematch for Colby Covington against Kamaru Usman, which brings up the question, why did Gamebred get the rematch when it was not a competitive fight the first time? And I know he took the fight on short notice, had to fly across the world, etc., but that's not going to change your wrestling style. And Uncle Chael would probably agree with that. The guy couldn't wrestle. He was going to get out wrestled. The fact that he got knocked out in the second fight shows he shouldn't have even been in there in the first place, in my opinion, because, you know, what happened twice? He lost. So he's got the better of Jorge. This is not the same case with Colby, though. The first fight was highly competitive. There was a couple of stoppages that were questionable. I'm not going to go as far as to say that Colby says, you know, Kamaru was cheating. I understand that you can see the eye poke and the memes and stuff like that. And with the clear gut shot with that kick, it was really on the belt, above the belt. It was not in Kamaru's, you know, general area, if you know what I mean. So I do think that Kamaru was able to get away with some of the things in that fight that did help swing the momentum. But Colby did hit him with everything he had. He unloaded incredible 1-2 punches, just great combinations all around, and a lot of these landed flush. Kamaru never backed up, never really got startled. He may have slipped once or twice, but this guy was able to move forward. Kamaru Usman did show that he has a crimson chin, so that's something to take a look at moving forward. But obviously, Colby was probably the toughest fight for Kamaru Usman in quite some time. You can see it if you go back and watch Kamaru's last, you know, several fights. I really do believe that Colby was the best fight out of any of these guys. His cardio is a huge factor. The fact that Colby's a great wrestler, that's another great factor that didn't play into that fight, but may play into the next fight if Kamaru does decide to try and take Colby down. I do believe that he'll have more success than some of the other guys that he's fought against. That's all I'm saying. And if both these fighters have been training and improving in all aspects of their game, this could be an incredible super fight. I mean, the next thing we got to say is that both of these fighters are calling out Jake Paul. I do not understand why this is, but Jake Paul wants to fight Kamaru Usman. Colby Covington is calling out Jake Paul. Jake Paul would not fight either of these guys in an MMA fight, and if it came down to a boxing match, this is a way different boxing match than Ben Askren, man. Like, Colby Covington could bust him up. Kamaru Usman, maybe not the best stand-up striker in the world, but still, he's got hard hands. He knows how to move his head. He's got great head movement, and he's the more technical striker. I definitely think that he would get whomped by both of these guys. So why are you stepping down and calling out Jake Paul? You guys should be calling out each other. That is the super fight to make. Instead of calling out Colby Covington, which is pretty much what everybody wants, he's the #1 contender. Kamaru Usman calls out Michael Chiesa. It blows my mind, honestly. Like, this guy is on a 4-fight win streak with that submission over Carlos Condit to start the winning streak off. So basically, he has shown that in 65% of his fights, he's able to submit his opponents. But his win-loss record is 18-4 compared to Colby's 16-2. I just believe Michael Chiesa's wins are a lot less significant than Colby Covington's. When you look at him destroying Robbie Lawler, destroying Tyron Woodley, soundly defeating Rafael Dos Anjos, beating Damian Maia, beating Dong Young Kim. All these guys, to me, these were all incredible fights for Colby, and they weren't really that close. So the only close fight that he was in really recently was Kamaru Usman, and it pretty much went the distance with a, you know, light stoppage. I understand where the stoppage came from, but still, you got to say that these guys went the distance. They deserve the rematch, and I think Kamaru Usman knows that. He's calling out Michael Chiesa because Covington is the better wrestler. He's the better grappler. He's got better stamina. He's got better cardio, and it takes that to perform well late into the 4th and 5th rounds of a championship fight. Like I said, Chiesa can go the distance, but Colby proved he can do it time and time again. Colby and Chiesa are different stylistically, and Kamaru Usman is going to look to probably fight Chiesa standing up, to where Chiesa, I believe, would like to get some grappling going and some jiu-jitsu skills in there. I don't think that that's the type of fight that Colby would fight, and for the average fan, it's going to be more entertaining if Colby fights Kamaru. I'm an MMA fan, so I'm okay with anything going, but guys, you gotta say it. I think that Covington is the better matchup. I think he's the better fighter, and I think he deserves a rematch. Now, let's say that rematch does not happen for whatever reason. If Jake Paul sneaks his nose in this somehow and screws everything up and gets a fight with Colby, or if he agrees to fight someone like Masvidal instead of Kamaru because Kamaru is ducking him, if Masvidal chooses to fight Nick Diaz and now Colby Covington is left without a true fight, this would be honestly a sham and a shame. So I hope you guys agree with what I'm saying. I think that Colby Covington, you know, he just deserves another shot. If he doesn't get it, it'll be a shame, but we might have to wait until 2022 for a possible Kamaru Covington rematch. I really don't want to see that, but who knows? Leave your comments down below who you guys want to see Kamaru fight next. I'll see y'all later. Peace.
Life like this, maybe give a little glimpse, maybe give a little glimpse. She wanna do a little